Voice. English verbs show the characteristic of voice. There are two voices in English. One is active voice and the other one is passive voice. In the active voice sentence, the subject is active. In the passive voice sentence, the subject is passive. Fleming discovered penicillin. Penicillin was discovered by Fleming. Can you see the difference? In the first sentence, Fleming discovered penicillin. The subject is Fleming. The sentence is about Fleming and what he did. What did Fleming do? He discovered penicillin. In the second sentence, penicillin was discovered by Fleming. The sentence is about penicillin and what happened to penicillin. It was discovered by Fleming. In the first sentence, the subject is the doer. The subject is Fleming. What did Fleming do? He discovered. What did he discover? He discovered penicillin. Fleming is the subject, discovered is the verb, and penicillin is the object. In the second sentence, penicillin was discovered by Fleming. The subject is penicillin, but it is not the doer. Something is done to the penicillin. Here, the subject is passive, so it is said to be in the passive voice, while the first one, Fleming discovered penicillin, is in the active voice. So we can say active voice is equal to subject followed by verb and object. And passive voice is equal to object of the active voice sentence, verb by subject. Before we proceed further, you have to understand what we mean by the object of a sentence. The object of a sentence is a noun or a noun phrase. It comes after the verb, but not all the nouns coming after the verb or objects. To identify the object of a sentence, you have to ask the question what or whom after the verb. I bought a car. I bought what? I bought a car. Or, what did you buy? I bought a car. So here, a car is the object. Let me give you another example. I met your sister. I met whom? Your sister. Whom did you meet? I met your sister. Here, your sister is the object. Remember, to find out the object of a sentence, ask the question what or whom after the verb. Here is one more example to understand this. I gave Preeti a gift. In this sentence, you have two objects. I gave what? A gift. I gave a gift to whom? Preeti. What did you give? I gave a gift. To whom did you give? I gave it to Preeti. So, you have two objects, one answering the question what and one answering the question whom. Normally, we say the object that answers what is called direct object, and the object that answers the question whom is called indirect object. Generally, of the two objects, the indirect object will come first and the direct object will come next. A gift was given to Preeti by me. Or Preeti was given a gift by me. Not all the verbs will take object. Static verbs do not take objects. Only verbs that express action, what we call dynamic verbs, will take objects. Even here, not all the dynamic verbs take objects. Please remember that. There are certain verbs that take objects and there are certain verbs that do not take objects. Verbs that take an object are called transitive verbs. Verbs that do not take an object are called intransitive verbs. Here is an example to understand better. John came home. The verb is came. It is followed by a noun, home, but home is not an object. John came what? Home does not answer the question what or whom. Home tells you where did John go or where did John come. Home is an adverb. It is not an object. So, came here does not take an object. It is not a transitive verb. So, therefore, it is an intransitive verb. Here is another example for intransitive verb. She is a teacher. A teacher is a nominal phrase. It comes after the verb, but it is not an object because is not a dynamic verb. It is a static verb. I opened the door. A door is a nominal phrase. It comes after the verb open, so it is an object. If it is an object, you will be able to make it the subject of a passive voice. You can say, the door was opened by me. So, opened is a transitive verb. Let me give you another example. The sun disappeared brightly. Now here, you don't have a nominal phrase after the verb. So, there is no question of any object in this sentence. Ram met your sister. We will find out the object by asking the question what or whom after the verb met. Ram met what? The object does not answer what, but it answers whom. Ram met whom? Your sister. So, your sister is the object and met is a transitive verb. Therefore, you can make it into passive voice. Your sister was met by Ram. A verb may be transitive, but in a particular sentence, it may not take an object. To understand this, two example sentences are given. 1. The bell rang. 2. He rang the bell. In the sentence, the bell rang, there is no object. In the second sentence, he rang the bell. Rang is transitive verb. In the sentence, the bell rang. Rang is intransitive. Similarly, I opened the door. The shop opened. In I opened the door, the verb opened is followed by an object, but in the sentence, the shop opened, there is no object. Only transitive verbs can be changed into passive voice. The change of an active voice sentence into passive voice or a passive voice sentence into active voice can test your command over the verb patterns. While changing an active voice sentence into passive voice sentence, the first thing that you have to do is to identify the object. To identify the object, always ask the question what or whom after the verb. The noun or the nominal phrase that answers the question what or whom is the object of that sentence. The object of an active voice sentence will become the subject of the passive voice. As simple as that. It is only a notional subject. It is not active, it is only passive. The second change that you have to make is to introduce the passive verb. In the passive sentence, we are going to use only the past participle form of the verb, that is, VEN form, as the main verb. You know that when we use VEN, we have to give a corresponding helping verb. It is in giving that helping verb that you have to be careful. The helping verb will be decided by the tense and aspect of the verb in the active voice. The past participle form will be followed by, and then the subject of the active voice will become the agent here. One point you have to remember is that English pronouns have different object forms. That is, I will become me. We will become us. You remains you. He turns into him. She becomes her. It remains it. They become them. Let us first begin with the sentences which have simple present tense or simple past tense as the main verb in the active sentence. The helping verbs of simple present tense or simple past tense will be form of the verb. Am, is, are, if it is in the simple present tense. Was and were, if it is in the simple past tense. The choice of be form is decided by the subject. You have to take into consideration whether the subject is singular or plural. For example, take this sentence. They speak French fluently. How do you change it into passive voice? Stage 1. You have to identify the object. What do you have to do to find the object? You have to ask the question whom or what after the verb. They speak what? French. So, French is the object. French becomes the subject in the passive voice. Then, you have to identify the past participle form of the verb speak. Spoke, past tense. Spoken is the past participle. So, you have to use spoken in the passive voice. Spoken needs an auxiliary. The tense is simple present, so you have to use am, is, are. So, French takes is, therefore, French is spoken. Introduce by, and they becomes them. Do you remember? French is spoken fluently by them. I will give you another example. I enjoy movies. First, identify the object. I enjoy what? Movies. So here, movies become the subject of the passive voice. The past participle form of enjoy is enjoyed. It is simple present. The auxiliary must be am, is, are. So movies plural. So it takes are. And I becomes me. it should be preceded by. So therefore, the sentence becomes, movies are enjoyed by me. She saw you in the market. What is the object here? She saw whom? You. So, you is the object. What is the past participle form of saw? Seen. What is the tense here? Yes, it is past. So, what is the aspect? Yes, it is simple. The be form auxiliary must be was or were. You must be followed only by were, because you will always take plural form. She must become her. You were seen by her. You were seen by her in the market. Let me give you another example for better understanding. I presented my mother a birthday gift. I presented what? Yes, a birthday gift. I presented a birthday gift to whom? My mother. So, you have two objects here, my mother and a birthday gift. When you have two objects, you can generate two passive voice sentences. Presented is the past participle form of present. What is the aspect here? Simple. And the tense is past. Which helping verb do you use for simple past? Was or were? First, we will take a birthday gift. It is singular. It should be followed by was. So, a birthday gift was presented by me to my mother. You can use my mother also as the subject. My mother is a singular and will take was as helping verb. My mother was presented a birthday gift by me. She always buys us tickets. Here you have two objects, one answering the question what and the other answering the question whom. She always buys what? Tickets. She always buys tickets for whom? Us. So, you can generate two passive voice sentences, one using the direct object tickets and the other using indirect object us. First, we will form the passive voice using tickets as the subject of the passive voice. The active voice is in simple present tense, so the helping verb will be am, is, are. Since tickets is plural, it will take the helping verb are. Tickets are always bought by her for us. The second sentence will be formed using us in the active voice as the subject of the passive voice. But us will change to we in the passive voice. And we is plural verb. And the active voice sentence is in simple present. So it will take are as helping verb. We are always bought tickets by her. Now, how to make the change in case of continuous aspect? Future continuous will not have the passive voice. Passive voice is possible only with present continuous and past continuous. Always remember that. Here too, you have to use the past participle. You have to include the be form of auxiliary. In between, you have to insert being. The be form auxiliary can be am, is, or in the case of present tense, and was and were in the case of past tense. He is doing a good job. It is in present continuous tense. Don't you think so? The object here is a good job that has to become the subject. You have to use the be form of the present tense. Since good job is singular, it has to be followed by is. Then insert being. Is being. The past participle form of do is done. So you have to say, a good job is being done by him. They were checking tickets. This is in past continuous tense. Checking is the present participle of the verb check. They were checking what? Tickets. That becomes the object. Since it is in the past tense, the be auxiliary should be was or were. Tickets is a plural noun, so the auxiliary must be were. Being is inserted between the auxiliary verb were. And checked, which is the past participle of the main verb check. Tickets were being checked by them. Let me give you another example. They are discussing your problem. Your problem is the subject of the passive voice. Your problem is singular, so it should have is as the helping verb. Being is inserted between the main verb and the auxiliary. The main verb discussing, which is in present participle form, is changed to past participle, that is, discussed. Your problem is being discussed by them. I was cheating you. The object here is you. That has to become the subject. The tense is past, and so the auxiliary must be were. Because you will always take plural auxiliary verb. Don't you remember? The main verb cheating, which is in present participle of the verb cheat, and it is changed to past participle, that is, cheated. You were being cheated by me. Now, we will study how to change in case. If it is present perfect or past perfect, as we did in the case of continuous, the auxiliary has, have, had will be retained. The main verb is going to be the past participle. In between, you have to insert been. He has closed the shop. It is a present perfect tense. He has closed what? The shop. This is the object of the sentence and it becomes the subject in the passive voice. It is in present perfect form. We need to retain has and it has to be followed by been. The shop has been closed by him. We will study some more examples which is in present perfect tense and when changed to passive voice, been is added to the statement, but still it will be present perfect. I have lost the keys. The keys have been lost by me. We had not cleaned the house. The house had not been cleaned by us. They offered me a new job. Since the sentence has two objects, me and a new job, we can generate two passive constructions. A new job has been offered to me by them. I have been offered a new job by them. They will have completed the work. It is in future perfect tense. Do you remember? In case of future perfect tense, you need to insert been between the auxiliaries and the main verb. The work will have been completed by them. Another example, which is in future perfect tense. They will have offered you the job. The job will have been offered to you by them. What to do in case of verbs with modals followed by the main verb? All that you have to do is insert be. We will understand with an example. He will attend the meeting. It is in simple future tense. We have to insert be between the modal auxiliary and the past participle form of the main verb. Attended is the past participle form of attend. The meeting will be attended by him. Another example for you. He will take care of them. Active voice is in simple future. We need to insert be in between the modal auxiliary and the past participle form of the main verb. Taken is the past participle form of take. So therefore, the statement is, they will be taken care of by him. He will inherit a lot of money. The active voice is in simple future. You need to insert be in between the modal auxiliary and VEN form of the main verb. Inherited is the VEN form of inherit. A lot of money will be inherited by him. So, what are the main points that you have to remember in transforming an active voice sentence into passive voice sentence? Identify the object by asking the question what or whom after the verb. Make that object the subject of the passive voice. Find out the past participle form of the main verb. In choosing the auxiliary or helping verb, take into consideration the tense and the aspect of the verb. You should not change the tense or aspect. That is very important. If it is simple present or simple past, the be form of the verb followed by the past participle. If it is continuous, be form plus being plus past participle form of the verb. If it is perfect, have form plus been plus the past participle form of the main verb. In the case of verbs with modals, all that you have to do is to insert be between the modal and the past participle of the main verb. Now, we will take few examples mixing all these tenses and aspects, and you try to find out whether you can answer them. I have already paid the electricians. I will tell you how it has to be done. I have already paid whom? The electricians. So, the electricians is the object. The past participle form of pay is paid. Here, the tense is present. The aspect is perfect. So, we retain have form. And the past participle form of pay is paid. We insert been in between auxiliary have and the main verb paid. The electricians have been already paid by me. They will ask us several questions. The answer will be, several questions will be asked to us by them. We can also say, we will be asked several questions by them. They denied us permission. Here, you have two objects and you can construct two passive sentences. 1. Permission was denied to us by them. 2. We were denied permission by them. Another example for you. Ramu feeds the cow every day. The cow is fed by Ramu every day. Police stopped me on my way. I was stopped on my way by the police. In the case of imperatives, in changing into passive voice, you have to make use of let. First, finish the job. Let the job be first finished. Do it. Let it be done by you. Play the game. Let the game be played by them. In the case of interrogatives, the passive transformation can be a bit tricky, and it is by only practice that you will be able to master it. Who sent the telegram? The passive constructions for this will be, by whom was the telegram sent? Did you hear the bell? Did the bell was heard by you? Has anyone called you? Have you been called by anyone? Where have they kept the valuables? Where have the valuables been kept by them? Do we need it? Is it needed by us? Now, I'm going to give you some more sentences which are in the passive voice. You change them into active voice. I was offered a good salary. You have to make it into active. They offered me a good salary. When the agent is not mentioned, we can generate a suitable agent. The glass has been broken by the boys. The boys have broken the glass, as simple as that. The secret is known to us. We know the secret. It can't be done by him. He can't do it. I was not invited for the dinner. Here, you don't have the agent. In that case, you have to invent an agent yourself. You can say, they did not invite me for the dinner. Another example for you. Forests are being destroyed. Again, we don't have an agent. You can say, we are destroying forest. Let that be not permitted by us. Let us not permit it. In these constructions like, they have to spend a lot of money, of this type, which have an infinitive, we have to split the infinitive with be. Here, when you make it into passive voice, you have to say, a lot of money has to be spent by them. You have to take 2 tablets. Changing into passive voice, you have to say, 2 tablets have to be taken by you. Now, we are going to take up conditional sentences for our study. Conditional sentences have a special verbal structure. A conditional sentence is one in which you have a conditional clause, what you generally call if clause. If he approaches me, I will help him. You have 2 clauses here. If he approaches me is a conditional clause. If the condition is fulfilled, what will happen? I will help. So, in a conditional clause, you will have a condition, and if the condition is fulfilled, what will happen? If it rains, I won't go out. Here, the condition clause is, if it rains. If it rains, what'll happen? I won't go out. There are three types of conditional sentences. They are probable conditional clauses, improbable conditional clauses, and impossible conditional clauses. In a probable condition, you make a condition. You simply say that if this condition is fulfilled, I will do something. Examples: if you want, I will come with you. I will be with you if you take care of me. If it rains, we will have a good harvest. Here, you don't say whether it'll happen or not. All that is implied is, if this condition is fulfilled, the rest will follow. In the probable condition, in the if clause, you have to use simple present. In the main clause, you have to use simple future. If you want, I will give you money. If clause, if you want, it is in the simple present. Main clause, I will give you money. It has to be in the simple future. The condition in a probable condition clause is an open one or a likely condition. If clause can also be in the present continuous or present perfect. If you're looking for the newspapers, you will find them there. If you have finished reading, we will go for a walk. In the main clause, we can also use may, can, must, and should. If you have finished the work, you can go. If you want the job, you must work hard. If you don't come, I may not go. Improbable condition. The second conditional clause or sentence is improbable. It is otherwise called closed or unlikely condition. What we mean by improbable is that the condition is not likely to be fulfilled. Examples: if I had money, I would go around the world. The implied meaning is that I don't have money, so there is no chance of me going around the world. If I were the Prime Minister, I would abolish all democratic rights. But the problem is that I am not the Prime Minister. If I were a bird, I would fly. I'm not a bird and I can't fly. In this improbable condition, the if clause will be in the simple past. The main clause will be modal, would, followed by bare infinitive. If I worked hard, I would pass. In the if clause, we make use of simple past. In the main clause, you have would followed by bare infinitive. The implication here is that I am not capable of hard working, so I am not going to pass. Let me give you another example. If I spoke Latin, would you understand? This is an improbable condition as the if clause is in the simple past. And the main clause as modal would followed by bare infinitive. The implication is I can't speak Latin, and even if I speak Latin, you can't understand. Both probable and improbable conditions refer to the future. But there is third one, what we call impossible condition clause. This condition clause does not refer to the future, but it refers to the past. This is also called unfulfilled conditional clause. If you had come earlier, you could have met the principal. Unfortunately, you did not come, so you didn't meet the principal. If she had not committed silly mistakes, she would have won the prize. But she committed silly mistakes and she did not win the prize. So it refers to a past action. The condition was not carried out. Past condition was not carried out, and so there was a failure. In the impossible condition, if clause should be in the past perfect. The main clause will have would followed by have and past participle. If he had come, I would have taken you out. Now I will give you sentences with all the three conditions. If you apologize, you will escape. So here it is a probable condition. If you apologized, you would escape. Here it is an improbable condition. Here the speaker does not think that the person would apologize, so the chances of his escaping are less. If you had apologized, you would have escaped. This is impossible condition. Unfortunately, he had not apologized, and so he had not escaped. Another three combinations. If he seeks help, I will help him. This is probable condition. You simply state a condition, and if the condition is fulfilled, you will help him. If he sought help, I would help him. This is an improbable condition. Here, the speaker suggests that the other person would not seek his help, so the chances of him helping are less. If he had sought help, I would have helped him. Impossible condition. Here, the implication is that he did not seek help, so he was not helped. Look at this sentence now. If it had rained, I would have taken an umbrella. What type of conditional clause it is? Yes, it is an impossible condition. Why? You have past perfect in the if clause, would followed by have, and past participle in the main clause. Can you make it into probable and improbable condition? You can do it. If it rains, I will take an umbrella. That is probable condition. If it rained, I would take an umbrella. That is improbable condition. Now look at this sentence. If you want to meet the chairman, you must get prior permission. What type of conditional sentence it is? Yes, it is the probable condition, because you have simple present in the if clause and the futuristic in the main clause. How do you make it into improbable? If you wanted to meet the chairman, you should get prior permission. What about the impossible? If you had wanted to meet the chairman, you must have got prior permission. Look at another example. If the driver had been careful, he could have avoided the accident. What type of condition it is? Impossible condition. How to make it into probable and improbable? If the driver is careful, he can avoid the accident. That is a probable condition. If the driver was careful, he would avoid the accident. That is an improbable condition. Now we go to the direct and indirect speech. Lata said, I am hungry. In this sentence, you're quoting exactly what Lata said. What Lata said is within quotation marks or inverted commas. This is direct speech. Lata said that she was hungry. Here, we are reporting what Lata said. This is indirect speech or reported speech. In the indirect speech, you don't have the quotation marks or inverted commas. You make the necessary changes also. What are the changes that we have made in this reported speech? While reporting what Lata said, we have included the conjunction that. I is changed to she. The tense of the verb in the reported statement is changed from the present to the past. What are all the general guidelines while changing a direct speech into indirect speech? If the reporting verb is in the past tense, then simple present will become simple past. Present continuous will become past continuous. Present perfect will become past perfect. Present perfect continuous will become past perfect continuous. Past continuous will become past perfect continuous. Past perfect will remain as it is. Past perfect continuous will remain as it is. Simple past tense will become past perfect. In the case of modals also, we have to make it into the past. If the reported verb is in the present tense, no change has to be made. Similarly, words referring to time, place, and demonstrative pronouns undergo a change. We will see that. Now becomes them. Today becomes that day. Yesterday becomes the last day or the previous day. Tomorrow becomes the next day. Ago becomes before. Here becomes there. This becomes that. These becomes those. If the reported speech has a simple statement, then you have to use the conjunction that. He said John is a fool. The reporting verb said is in the past tense, so the past tense has to be used. Since it is a statement, the conjunction is that. We can begin the reported speech with he said or he told. The reported speech of he said John is a fool is he said that John was a fool. Another example for you. I'm going home, he said to me. Since the reporting verb said is in the past tense, am going is changed to was going. I would become he. The indirect speech will be he told me that he was going home. She said to John, I will be late. She told John that she would be late. Sham said, I bought a car. Sham said that he had bought a car. Simple past becomes past perfect. Bought, had bought. Sheila said, I don't like Hindi movies. Sheila said that she did not like Hindi movies. The chairman said, we have decided to postpone the meeting. The chairman told that they had decided to postpone the meeting. He said, I go for a walk in the morning. He said that he went for a walk in the morning. My teacher always tells me you are lazy. The indirect speech will be my teacher always tells me that I am lazy. Since in the reported speech the verb is in the present tense, you need not make it into a past tense. My teacher said the earth is a planet. My teacher said that the Earth is a planet. We don't say the Earth was a planet because it is a universal truth. I said that when you use simple past, it has to be converted into past perfect, but quite often in conversation that is not being followed. Now we take up interrogatives. In the case of interrogatives, which are yes or no question, the conjunction will be either if or whether. He said, has he gone? He said whether he had gone. Here you have to be careful. The interrogative has to be changed into a statement format. You should not say, he said, if had he gone. Wrong usage. Here we will see some more interrogatives and will convert it into indirect speech by using if or whether. She said, did you hear the news? She asked me whether I heard the news. The clerk said, do you want a first-class ticket? The clerk asked whether I wanted a first-class ticket. My wife said, if you miss the train, will you fly? My wife asked whether I would fly if I missed the train. If the questions are of WH nature, then you begin the reported part of the speech with a WH question. We don't use if or whether or that. There will be no conjunction. Begin the reported part with WH. He said, where are you going? He asked where I was going. He asked me, why are you late? He asked me why I was late. He asked Ram, where were you last evening? He asked Ram where he was last evening. If it is an imperative, you have to begin with an infinitive verb. My teacher said, don't do it. My teacher asked me not to do it. My father said, come here. My father asked me to come there. The boy said, please punish these boys. The boy asked to punish those boys. Or, the boy appealed to punish those boys. Or, the boy pleaded to punish those boys. Change these sentences from direct to indirect. The teacher said, can you come tomorrow to my house? The sentence is an interrogative. It is a yes or no question. So the conjunction must be if or whether. Don't you agree with me? Since it is an interrogative, replace said with asked. My teacher asked whether I could come the next day to her house. Tomorrow becomes the next day in indirect speech. Ram told Krishna, I saw you in the theatre yesterday. It is a statement. The conjunction has to be that. Ram told Krishna that he had seen him in the theatre the previous day. He said, this is my book. It is a statement. The conjunction must be that. He said that that was his book. Bring me the newspaper, my father said. Since the sentence is an interrogative, me being the reported part with infinitive, my father asked me to bring him the newspaper. Whose bag is this? The teacher asked. The teacher asked whose bag this was. Who are the speakers? The man asked. The man asked who the speakers were. The man wanted to know who the speakers were. Thank you, she said to the boy. She thanked the boy. Did she complete her BA? My friend asked. My friend asked whether she had completed her BA. Before concluding this session on English verb, you have to know that the verbal forms can occur in non-verbal positions. You should not confuse them with verbal forms. This happens with the two non-finite verbs. They are to infinitive and present participle. Let us see in the following examples. She is singing. I like singing. In the first sentence, she is singing. The verb singing is the present participle. It is a part of the verbal phrase and it helps in the formation of the continuous aspect. In the sentence, I like singing, we have the present participle form, but it doesn't perform a verbal function. I like what? I like singing. So here, it functions as an object. So you have a verbal form functioning as a noun. When you have a verbal form, ing form, functioning as a noun, we call it a verbal noun or we call it a gerund. A gerund is a verbal form or VING form but functioning as a noun. Reading is my hobby. Reading is of course a present participle form, but here it's functioning as the subject. So it is a gerund. A barking dog. Barking is a verbal form, but here it is functioning as an adjective. So you must know when a verbal form performs a verbal function or when it functions in other cases. The same is the case with to infinitive. I want to meet him. Here, to meet functions as the object of want. He wishes to stay there. Here, the infinitive to stay functions as the object of wishes. To err is human. To err, to infinitive, but here it is functioning as a noun. My aim is to win a gold medal. Here, to win functions as the complement of the sentence. The problem is difficult to understand. To understand is to infinitive, but it expands the adjective difficult. This is the right place to stay. To stay is an infinitive, but here it functions as a modifier of a noun. So these two verbal forms, VING form and to infinitive, can perform non-verbal functions. When they perform non-verbal function, though they may be verbal in form, they are not verbal structures.